Okay, we're back with our third and final lecture regarding Jonathan Edwards, the Great Awakening, and the conclusion of our look into Puritanism in America. So, we had just left off talking about, it's kind of a little geography lesson, some history sprinkled in there. Now, what started to happen, of course, between these different colonies is travel. People would take trips, especially businessmen, right? Going from the Puritan colonies up in New England, down further into Pennsylvania, for example, which was one of the middle colonies. So then what they started to see was a different type of life, day-to-day life, right, in those colonies, as well as differences in business that were going on then were in their home colonies. And they had been told by their leaders that this was the way to live their life. So then they started to see other ways of life, and so of course they started to go, maybe there's something going on over here that we need to look into. Plus, the New England colonies were secluded. In other words, they were kind of shut off. They were, insulated from the outside world. But what was going on with the middle colonies is that there was the growth of the population because of immigration, right? So what starts to happen is that people from different parts of Europe, for example, Germany, as well as England, parts of people from Scandinavia, France, people from all of these other countries are starting to, more and more come to the New World, and they find that they're most welcome in the middle colonies. Why is that? Because middle colonies are known for tolerance as well as religious freedom. So is where the Puritans are very isolated, very secluded, right? They travel down and they see this is a very cosmopolitan life. They see people with a wide variety of businesses, many different ways of worshiping God, and incredible growth and vitality that's going on in these middle colonies. Then they have to go back home to being secluded, being governed with a very strict, intolerant, theocratic, and so what starts to happen, and again, one of the things that we have to always remember is that as we look back on history doesn't happen like that. It's a very slow, gradual change. And this is one of the things that triggered, again, the Great Awakening, is that the Puritan leaders recognized this loss of spiritual courage, right? They wanted the Puritans to reform and return. Otherwise, they were going to suffer God's wrath. So what starts to happen very slowly, is this Puritan experiment starts to fade away very slowly. Now, of course, in the New England colonies, even after this experiment, this theocratic way of life ultimately failed, the flavor of the New England colonies was still to be influenced by their Puritan forefathers. So now, as we continue to move through the course, what we're going to do is we're going to travel south, and we're going to move into the middle colonies. And now, also, by the way, if you remember from the period overview, right, the Puritans came over during the Renaissance. We've progressed into the Enlightenment. So now, as we start to wrap up Puritanism, remember, it just didn't die out like that, right? It just kind of slowly lost its steam, lost their spiritual courage, and then faded away as the middle colonies start to rise up and take the place. And it's the middle colonies that were to form America as we know it today. America today, the forefathers of America today were not the Puritans. They were to be found in the middle colonies, known for tolerance, religious freedom, and welcoming of immigrants. So we'll pick up there as we continue to the course and move to the next period. So until we meet again, be well, do good work, and keep in touch.